no. LB, I knew he was coming in hot, but
no, man, you know me.
Okay. Well, hey, listen. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to 15 Good Minutes. It's Coach B here. Freddie, how you doing, buddy?
You guys?
Doing good. Charles, you look like you're in the fog, but I can see you. How are you, sir?
Fantastic. I'm wonderfully excellent.
Wonderfully excellent.
Damn, I thought we just had him at fantastic. LB, what's up, buddy?
I'm tired, but I'm good. Let's go.
Let's hit it. So we got two guests in the building from your other team, LB, the good folks at Golf DMV.
I don't know those
Claude
guys.
Jennings, Vern, welcome, man. How you guys doing?
Listen, Coach B, it's a pleasure to be back on the show. LB, what's up, my guy? VB, what's up? Charles, I got a question for you. I'm gonna come back to you though. Okay. My man, Freddie, how you doing, brother? It's good. It's good to see you tonight.
I'm good. I don't have much to say. I'm just gonna go ahead and just mute my mic and clear out so you guys can get to what you got to get to.
It's been too long since I've been on, Coach B. But Coach B, before we jump in, I just got one question for Charles.
Okay.
So you missed last week's show because you got a new cell phone? Like, how does that work? How'd that work out, my man?
Literally, I switched carriers, and when I switched carriers, I lost my cell signal. So literally, the switch over didn't happen good. It didn't happen. It didn't happen like the way it's supposed to, right? So I was without a cell signal for almost 3 days. Almost 3 days, right? And now I got a new phone. So I know everybody told you that I upgraded.
Leave him alone, LB.
to an 8 to a 16, right? So I now don't know how to work this phone. So,
but just to back Claude's point up, you're not on a phone right now.
So. Exactly.
I think he was just trying to make the connection.
I don't know why it's foggy. Okay, I don't know why it is. Right.
We're gonna jump right in, Charles. Great question, Claude. Thanks for being here. As you guys can see, I got the coach's clipboard. That means I got a lot to unpack. So we're just gonna dive right in. I got 3 major things I want to cover, and then a couple of questions. I do have a specific question for Claude. May not be the question that you think it is, Claude, but that'll come at the end. So we're talking today about NCAA college football, the playoffs, the conference championships from last weekend, how some things shook out. And this is one of the reasons that we love to have the Golf DMV team on the show, because they're all very well versed in college football. I think it's an exciting time for the game. So before we get into the game specifics, I want to open with this. You got your 4 Heisman candidates out there now: Travis Hunter, Dylan Gabriel, Ashton Gente, and Cam Ward. Are there any of you that thinks it's anyone other than Travis Hunter that should win this?
Yeah, I think Dylan Gabriel's got probably the best argument for it. I mean, his team is number 1 in the country, undefeated, and he's the reason why they are that way. Now, again, Travis is an amazing athlete. I mean, I don't think anybody will have a problem if Travis wins it, but that QB from Oregon's good, man. I mean, he's real good.
Yeah.
No, I vote for Gentry. Let me back up. Not that I vote for Gentry. I would like to see Travis Hunter win. But I think he is going to face a hard. It's going to be an uphill battle for him. Not so much, and not his fault. I think it's who he plays for and who his coach is, and there's going to be some pushback on that. Actually, if all things were equal, I think Gentry should get it. But Genty, however you say his name, the running back from Boise.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I agree with LB. I'll keep it short. I agree with LB. I'm with you, Claude. That usually best player, best team. So Dylan Gabriel, they did a good job with the selections. I don't think anybody's mad. It's no shade against Trav or anything. I think in terms of best at their position, Gabriel and Genty beat him out just a little bit for me. But nobody's gonna be upset if any of those guys wins it.
Anybody else? I got a thought. My thought was this.
Go ahead,
Charles.
I would have nominated Shadur Sanders. I thought that he had a Heisman.
Damn, you bringing in a fifth. You bringing in a fifth.
I thought he had a Heisman year. I did. I thought that's who I would have nominated, right? But
I think at the end of the day, Charles, this has always been a quarterback's award, whether anybody will admit it or not. And I think that kind of speaks to Claude's point, why probably is going to go to Gabriel. I just think that, hell, I don't know the last time I saw a two-way player be the type of two-way player that Travis has been. I know they're not number 1. I get all of that stuff. But they don't finish top 25 without him. And I get what you're saying, Charles, about Shedeur. but I mean significant play on both sides of the ball. Number of picks, the catches that he does in the end zone are phenomenal. So, but to your point, Vern, I don't think anybody will be mad if any of those guys get it. But LB, the kid from Boise State, hell of a running back. I mean,
Yeah.
So I was watching today on, I think it was CBS Sports or something, and they did they had a poll, listener poll or whatever. 70% of the people who responded thought Gentry, is it Genty or Gentry? Whatever.
Genty.
Genty, yeah.
Yeah, they thought he should get it. It was 70% him and like 24-25 to
Hunter.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What hurts him is the competition level that he plays in, and he's not in a large market. I think to me it would be between Travis and Dylan. Dylan, because best team, they're undefeated, which is typically how it goes. Yeah. But then when you look at Travis the last 2 years and all the the media, I definitely think that wow factor and that media attention definitely helps Travis' case. So I think it's between Travis and Dylan.
All right, fair enough. Before we get into the rankings and the playoffs, I want to talk a little bit about how the conference championships went over the weekend, right? So basically, Arizona State housed Iowa State. Oregon beat Penn State 45-37. Georgia, Texas was a three-point victory by Georgia, 22-19, and Clemson, SMU, another 3-point victory, 34-31. I'm going to just open it up here. I thought that 3 of those games were what I would call championship caliber games. And what I mean by that is one of the things I like about the NFL is that one weekend where the AFC championship and the NFC championship are played on the same day. It's like 2 Super Bowls to me. And watching, even though it wasn't a high scoring game, watching Georgia, Texas, to me, I found it riveting. I thought it was really good. And the fact the Clemson SMU game had so much other stuff on the line, I found particularly, interesting too. Did you guys see any of that when you watched any of these games?
Well, I watched the Texas. The one I saw most of was the Texas Georgia game, and I was pulling for Texas. I was at an event and I came in late, and I didn't know he had already missed 2 field goals. So my real question for Texas is you got a new kicker in the portal? Did you bring it in next year? Are we getting any nil money back from this guy, or what are we doing about this? Because you can't.
Kickers get nil.
Well, I would think in this case they need one. They might need to pay somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, because you think about it, if he makes these field goals, they're 1 or 2 seed at least, and not 5 as they're ranked now. So I was totally disappointed with that one. Oregon, I like Oregon. Honestly, I hope they win. But their defense sometimes scares me a little bit.
Sounds like you don't believe in them fully.
No, I don't, because their defense sometimes that's too many. They let defenses score too many points.
Yeah, often. Yeah,
you let too many offenses score too many points.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Texas and Georgia, I think there was 2 things that stood out to me outside of the field goals. That stuff happens all the time. Big moment games. Your job is to make the kick. But I think early on in the game, I felt that the referees were calling it very tight to keep Georgia in the game. Texas had a number of penalties that stalled their drives, that kept Georgia in the game. And I also think that Sarkisian, whatever his name is, I think he coached the game not to lose, as opposed to, because the play calling was very questionable. You're not running on Georgia, and specifically on their last drive, their first play was a run. I'm like, why are you running? You could do a swing pass, something like that, as an extension of the run. I don't know why you're continuing to do that. So I think the early penalties on Texas early and questionable play calling is what hurt them more than obviously those 2 missed kicks.
To get to Freddie's point about the play calling, I will say this: I'm not sure how much confidence Texas have in Quinn Ewers at this point. Because I'm just, as a passer, I'm just not, and so that's where I think some of that play call. Because I'm watching the game and I'm thinking, if I need a spark, I'm putting Manning in, because something different, even if it's just for a drive or 2, because we're trying to get this SEC championship. We're likely going to make the playoffs, but we've got to get some momentum, and they've been lacking that since Quinn came back from that injury. So I think that had a lot to do with it. One of the teams, though, I don't think they'll make it far, but that has momentum going into the playoffs. Arizona State. There are some teams that did not make the playoffs that are playing really good football. Like South Carolina's playing really good football at this moment. But they didn't make it into too little, too late. But man, Arizona State is playing some really, really, really good football. And if anyone catches sleeping when they catch Arizona State, they're going to be in for a long day. I did catch the Clemson SMU game. I'm glad that even though SMU lost, that they still made it in and Alabama was left out.
Yeah.
Because you can't have first of all, you can't have 3 losses. But if 2 of those 3 are against Vanderbilt and Oklahoma this year, then it's like you don't have an argument, And so I'm glad that SMU is in there, and good luck to them, as well. I'd love to see in this 14 playoff at least 2 teams that nobody saw coming, and Arizona State and SMU in a 4, in that 4. Once we get to the round of 4, I'd like to see them in there.
I agree with Claude. I'm on the Arizona State bandwagon. If they can run the ball like they've been running the ball the whole year, and besides Boise State, they are the team that can really run the ball and control the clock, right? And if they can do that in the playoffs, it's a possibility that they could be one of those teams down in the Final Four.
Yeah, I'll just say really quickly to Claude's point about SMU and Clemson. They threaded that needle perfectly in terms of the ACC needing it to be, because if they get blown out, Alabama probably sneaks in there. You know how the committee is. It's like, but they did it perfectly where it was close, and and I agree with. I just kind of want chaos. That's what I want. I want chaos from all of this. Now I want SMU or Arizona State or Boyd to throw somebody so that next year it makes these conversations even harder or almost moot, to where it's just like, look, just put in the conference champions. And
now, don't forget some of the teams that are in that didn't play in the conference champ, because we love what we've seen lately. Don't forget about a Tennessee that can cause some issues.
Yeah,
Ohio State that can cause some issues. There's some teams that didn't play in the championship.
Look, and the last thing I want to say real quick, low key, is there anything to the idea that they're going to have to reshape this, because you can now we're at the point where you can miss your conference championship and get a bye if you got a strong enough to get in. Does that need to be?
You don't have to even be in the conference. You don't have to even be in the conference.
Or Notre Dame. You
don't have to even be in the conference, right? So should they change the rule for that?
That's what I'm asking for.
Basically, you need to at least be in a conference.
Or reward them somehow. Freddie, do you think so? Or just really nothing to that?
Notre Dame is just that program to where they can do whatever they want to do,
no matter how trash they are.
Exactly. I definitely don't think that they should be in it. To be honest, I just hate Notre Dame.
Me too.
Personal. So personal.
I mean, they have the NBC money that they share with nobody, which is why it's not advantageous for them to join a conference. Right. And then but. Hats off to them. They lost 1 game, but I don't like them. I think they should, have to join a conference. But I think I saw something earlier today to where they're considering expanding it to 14 teams.
That's true.
I don't know when. It's
I heard 16.
Maybe another year or 2 or something like that. But that has been brought up.
So let me ask a quick question about Notre Dame. They're the only, at least ones I can think of, that fits that category. Mm-hmm. A good program, and I put that in air quotes, that is not in a conference. Can you think of anybody else? I can't think of anybody else.
That's it.
And that's just football, right? I think Notre Dame is in a conference in basketball.
They're in the conference. Everything else, Claude. Yeah. Everything else. They're in ACC. They're in
football.
Everything.
Breaking in that cash, baby.
Claude, I want to go back to something that you said. I don't know if you saw, and Freddie and I was talking about this earlier this week. Wilbon's comments. Now, mind you, this is Michael Wilbon prior to the selection. Wilbon did a really good job of explaining how badly everybody else wanted Alabama to be in. He was talking about the outcome of what happened with that game, and that getting SMU getting the loss, which he wanted to see, but close to your point, Vern, and still not getting them in there. Wilbon, I think, finds that refreshing, but then it also speaks to your point, Vern, about whether or not you need to have conference championships to
Ohio State can lose it duck playing the extra game, and then you kind of get a bye, low key, I don't know.
Yeah. So, so having said that, what we're looking at in terms of, right now you got, let's see, we got 4 byes, right? Boise State, Arizona State, Oregon, Georgia. So not talking about those guys. You got 4 games coming up between the 20th and the 21st. Georgia is at Texas, Clemson's at SMU, Penn State's at Oregon, and who am I missing? The one at the LB. No, I'm sorry.
Indiana.
Indiana's at Notre Dame.
Yeah,
SMU's at Penn State. Clemson's at Texas. Tennessee's at Ohio State. Those 4.
These are not bowl games, though, right? These are not bowl games, right?
These are the playoffs. This is
games now. Are they doing the playoffs that the team?
They're separate. They're separate from the bowl games.
Okay, because they're gonna be separate. Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So to that end, I'm starting with you, LB. Is there something in the early rounds that you're looking for, whether or not it's an upset or somebody you think is gonna have a cakewalk?
I don't. The only cakewalk I think there might be Notre Dame. I have no faith in Indiana. But the other games I think they should be tight. If I had to pick, I hate Ohio State, so obviously I'm picking Tennessee. I'm picking Texas. Well, these are people who I want to win. I'm not saying they will.
Yeah.
These are, if I could pick, that's what I would want. I want Tennessee in. I want Texas to win. I want SMU to win, and I would vote for Indiana because I hate Notre Dame.
I want to look out for. So I think Clemson's going to get blown out by Texas.
Thank you.
I do too.
I don't think that's even going to be a contest. I think if I'm Notre Dame, I watch out for Indiana. I'd watch out. I think that could be close. Penn State also better be on the lookout for SMU because SMU can put up points. Penn State struggles to score.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't know.
James Franklin don't win. He has trouble with the big ones.
Exactly. And the one that I'm looking forward to the most is Tennessee. I want to see what Tennessee's going to do. I want to see what they're going to do.
Hey,
so
you got to root for the brother quarterback too.
Yeah, you have to.
All right. See if they can redeem themselves because they came out hot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Here in the Jennings home, we root for everything black. So
yes.
So that's
Freddie, who do you like?
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't like the fact that these games are home games. Like, for example, Clemson is at Texas. Indiana is at Notre Dame. I think if this is legitimately a playoff, right, I get it's a 1-game playoff, but why can't they just have these in neutral sites? Or
why do you need that though? I mean, if this was the NFL, we'd be playing at the team that had the best record. Why would we change that for these guys?
But that's different with the NFL because this is supposed to be collegiate athletics, right? It's supposed to be, right? But I think why should Texas get a home game against Clemson? Why can't it be in Chicago or New Orleans?
I think that penalizes Texas.
I mean,
because I think Clemson's got 3 losses on the season. Right?
3 losses.
You can't reward them.
Texas
If you flip it, you're rewarding Clemson, really.
But to Freddie's point, now was it last year, and I don't know if this is going to change on the next round, that they go to the Orange Bowl, gets the game, the Fiesta Bowl gets the game. Is that the plan for the next round? Do we know?
They get those games this year, but I think they're in the next round.
Next round.
Right, in the next round.
That is correct.
Those become neutral, quote unquote, neutral site games. Right.
Okay. So you're saying they should be next week they should play a game this week in the Orange Bowl, but next week it's the actual Orange Bowl. Is that what you're saying? No.
I was just clarifying so that the next round
win to get to the neutral site, basically.
Right.
Win this round and then you get to the Orange Bowl.
Then you go to then you get the Orange Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, yada yada. Those quote unquote neutral sites that you want.
Right.
So in this scenario, I'm fine with this scenario where they're playing home games. Yeah. Because they got a better record, they got a better team, they got a better ranking. Well, I should say better team. That's a better ranking than the other team.
They should get
luck of the draw. You should have lost that game, then you would have had a home game.
Question for you, Vern: does the teams that have a bye, does the bye help you or hurt you?
I think for college players, I think it helps. I don't think this isn't like, rest versus rust argument in NFL. It's not that. It's what is it, week? Just a single week. Yeah. Let everybody tighten up. Get healthy. You're not.
And if you're Georgia, ask them if Carson Beck needs that extra week because of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, give the coaches more time to prepare so that you come out ready to go or whatever. So no, I don't think. To me, rest. It's hard for me to argue against rest hurting. If you if you come out like for any sport, if you come out and you're kind of get caught off foot and you're slow, whatever, that's coaching. That's coaching, and then the player's not being prepared. But and I understand that there's something to be said for momentum, but no, I think the bye is okay.
And to that point, didn't Texas and Ohio State, weren't they off last week anyway because they lost the week before?
That was my point about like
Ohio State.
Ohio State and Tennessee.
Tennessee.
They didn't play last week anay, so they already got a week off.
They kind of got a low key bye, not being in the championship. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So starting with you, Charles, who do you like to win it all?
I'm going for the. I would like to see SMU or Arizona State. I'm rooting for the underdog.
Ain't you from Georgia?
All right. I am not from Georgia.
I do know Charles now. Despite what I said, I had somebody that had Charles.
Because I grew up in Georgia doesn't mean I'm.
Oh, there we go. All right.
You just left your home state in the dust, man. Claude, who wins it all?
Oh man,
It's tough.
It's tough. I'm gonna go Oregon. They've been the best team all year, I think.
Charles.
I'm gonna go Oregon. Reluctantly, like it's up to me. It's up in the air, but I'll go Oregon.
Yeah, I'm taking chalk too.
All right,
I'll take the chalk too.
Freddie?
State.
I'm sorry?
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Ooh.
LB?
I'm rooting for Texas.
All right, and Vern?
A chalk. I'm going Oregon too. I'm gonna take Rabbit Oregon as well. But you could say any of the 6 teams we've listed in the past 5 minutes, and I wouldn't be surprised the way it's gone this season.
I like Texas, but my concern goes back to something that Claude said at the top about the QB, and I was actually wondering if maybe Texas would tinker with the quarterback situation in this game against Clemson to just to show you a little something, right? I mean, it's
short leash. Got to be a short leash. It's the playoffs now.
Mm-hmm. When to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was other thing I have too here is there was I don't know if you saw the article today. It was on ESPN, but it was basically some comments that Lane Kiffin made, and I want to get your opinion on this. From Ole Miss, he's saying that they've got something wrong if your player can go into the portal now, like right now. And he used Duke as an example. Duke had a pretty good year. They find their way to a bowl game. Starting quarterback says, "You guys go and have fun. I'm out," and is in the portal today.
Yeah. Wow.
Should there be some kind of restraint to at least say, I mean, we had this conversation last year about whether or not, people opt out of playing in these bowl games because there's so many of them. Totally get that. But in a case like this, are they wrong to allow you to move into the portal while technically the season is still ongoing?
You got no regulation.
Yes.
You got no regulation.
Yes.
I mean, you got no regulation. When you got no regulation, this is the kind of stuff that you're gonna have. This is gonna happen, right? So, I mean, why take advantage of right now? Why they don't have any kind of regulatory guidelines, right? Yeah, I mean, it is. Is it right? Probably not. No, right? But for the player, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think it's as simple as regulation. I mean, I think or as complicated as that. I think it's as simple as we figured this out in the other pro sports. Why is there a trade deadline before the postseason? So we can't get to the postseason and dump everybody. It doesn't make any sense. So just put I agree. There should just be a cutoff for a deadline. But just my position on this, I know we talked about this in a separate call, Pops, but all of this stuff, just professionalize it. Like, stop playing games with, what's college we're gonna do? Just get agents, get rid of NIL, let all the schools get a budget, and you follow the NFL's cap structure if you want to do that or something. Or it'll be lower than obviously that, but and just stop playing. Like,
that's what there was I saw an interview today with Gene. What's this for UConn?
Gene Auriemma. Yeah,
and he said that's basically what he said. Let's stop calling this student athlete, and these are semi-pro athletes now.
Yeah,
we're doing everything except calling it for what it is. Because he said if we were concerned about the athlete, the student athlete, you wouldn't be playing a conference game. You have to travel 3,000 miles to go play it. If this was really about the student athlete. So he said, let's just call it what it is.
Yeah,
and put the guidelines around it, and let's go forward. But let's stop faking the funk. Basically, is what he said.
Yeah, this way you can get more efficient and get to an open market. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I say it all the time, and I'll say it again. Cardell Jones at Ohio State said it years ago. We ain't come here to play no class. We came here to play football. And that's
true.
That is what it is.
Probably the smartest thing he's ever said.
Yeah, yes. Might be the smartest thing he ever said.
I think they're getting to that though. And to your
point,
point,
I do think there needs to be a cap. Like you have to finish the season, into the portal until your team is done, bowl game or not. And I think some of your NIL money should be tied into the entire season to finish the season with your team. Because you know what? Okay, you're disappointed that you didn't make the playoffs or this bowl or that bowl. But you know what? That happens in life. Disappointment. You can't just walk away and run away and quit on your team. No, you've got to continue through to the end. And so
you have a contract. How about that? A signed contract.
So should there be? So to that point, though, Claude, right? We're talking about some form of penalization, right? You know what I mean? Like, with if you connect it to the nil, I'm saying. In other words, it's one thing to say I'm not going to play a game. It's a total other thing to enter the portal and start negotiating with another team while your team is. You know what I mean? That to me crosses a line that, to your point, Charles, whether or not it's regulatory or not, I didn't know until I read that article with Lane Kiffin that was actually a real thing, that you could leave today, enter the portal, and just leave your cats high and dry.
Ask Freddie. Freddie has experience with this last year.
Here we go.
Well, listen,
that's not a shot. That's a no. That's not a shot. That's
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. That's burning. I didn't say anything.
Claude, your previous comment, I felt like he was trying to lead into something.
No, really. What gave it away, Freddie? What gave it away?
But it's one of those things. I think what Lane was really saying is, why are we doing this now? Let's not, the transfer portal, I think it opened up Monday or Tuesday.
Correct.
I think what he was trying to say is, let's not open it now. Let's wait until the end of the season, because I think it was closed since I think August, right? And then now this is the big push, right? He's saying, why open it up now? Wait until all the games are done, or at least, after, the semi-final game, and then open it up for. There's only 2 teams left, 2 teams for the national championship. Which I agree with him. However, it's kind of hard to do all that, because the kid that says, "Hey, I'm leaving my team now, I'm jumping in the portal," I'm no longer on your team. So, as the rules currently are, there's nothing to govern or tie me to it, because technically I'm a free agent, right? And so,
that was Charles's point too. I mean, that's what I said. At some point, something has to be done about that, so that you are not a free agent. Or if you're going to leave, you got to leave a hell of a lot sooner than this point in the game. Again, using
this is the trade deadline.
When the season, you can leave when the season's over.
Right.
Yeah, when the season's over, when the bowl game is over.
But isn't that the same with the guys that are going to? I'm a wide receiver, and I know I'm a high draft pick, and then they go to the bowl game and say, "Hey, I'm not playing. I don't want to risk injury."
I
think that's different.
That's different. That's
you're still quitting on your team.
Going to the next level.
Agreed.
You are quitting on your team.
You're still quitting on your team.
Oh, okay. I'm alone on this.
I'm not saying.
I'm just saying you are quitting on your team.
You are. No, you're right. You're quitting on your team.
Quitting. I'm not quitting. I made it. You guys didn't make it. I mean, have fun. Have fun at the Pop-Tart Bowl. I'm going to the league, baby. Like, what's up? Like,
your season ends at the end once you play that 12th game.
Thank you.
Technically, that's when your season is over. Now if you make the conference championship and the playoff, that's a different story. Just like in the NFL, you get paid for these 17 games. But guess what? Once you get to the playoffs, everybody gets the same cut. Now, some players, quarterbacks, whatever, coaches, you may get incentives for winning a divisional round and things like that. But everyone's base pay in that playoff round, everybody is the same, right? So
I think my argument stems though from Freddie from this, and I'm going to use the Duke quarterback as an example. If they win the ACC or whatever, and they're in this 12-team playoff, dude ain't going nowhere. So it's got to be one way or the other. If you're leaving now because you're not in there, I think that's nonsense, because you would be playing if you were in. I want to take that choice away. And to me, the season ends when our team can no longer have a game on the schedule. I don't care if it's playoff, bowl game, semifinal. None of that should matter to me. And to that point, I think Kiffin's got something. Now whether or not, to your point, Charles, whether or not any of that changes.
But right now,
They'll
that's
change
old school
it.
thinking.
They'll fix it.
That's old school thinking, Rusty, right now.
Well, I'm old, so that
I'm not
makes
saying you're
sense.
not right. I'm just saying that's old school thinking. That's what it is.
They'll professionalize.
Listen,
the agents are going to shape the
before
game.
we run out of time, I got to ask Claude a question,
Okay.
which is
Good.
different probably than the question that I'm sure Freddie wants to answer. So
Okay.
here's my thing, and you guys will have to go back last year to watch the show when we talked about whether or not Florida State should get in. Claude went on a really good, I won't call it a rant, but it was really good pointed conversation about how, Jordan Travis got injured. They didn't deserve to be there. So I want to ask Claude, do you feel the same about Carson Beck?
So here's what I feel about Georgia. The only reason why I think this is different is because we don't know the status of Carson Beck. We knew Jordan Travis
True, but let's say
was
this
not
too now.
gonna be able to finish
When the
the game.
committee
Like,
asked
he wasn't
about
gonna be
the
able to finish
status,
the game.
I thought that the coach was very good at masking what it was for that very
Kirby?
reason.
Yeah,
And
sure,
I
we
also
could-
thought that in Jordan's case, he got hurt sooner, so you got to see the body of work of the backup. But I don't think it's a mistake the way that Georgia's coach answered the question. How
of
is
course
it?
not.
I saw the injury.
No, he played the hand that was dealt to him. And so he
Exactly.
says, well, and don't think it was a mistake that he came in to hand the ball off on that last play.
100%.
Well, we don't know. Maybe he can play, maybe he can't.
So
They played it masterfully. But with Jordan Travis, we knew he was out.
Yeah.
Florida State did finish undefeated. But we also know that they were a different team without him. And then, but the other thing you got to look at is then who do you take out of that scenario? Do you take out Michigan? Do you take out Washington? Do you take out Texas? Do you take out Alabama? And then even if you take one of those out, how do you tell Georgia, who only had one loss in the SEC championship game, and the only team that's beaten them in like 2.5 seasons had been Alabama? How do you tell them that Florida State, like if it was a 12-team playoff? Throw Florida State.
It wouldn't have mattered. Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered.
It's all good.
Right. It's just an apples to orange question. I get that.
Who do they lead is the only thing, and I just don't know if there was a case for them to leap any of those 4 teams that were already in or Georgia. The only way to prove it was for most of the players not to enter the transfer portal and to play Georgia instead of leaving their teammates out like sheep to the slaughter and losing 63-3. The only way to prove it was to come out there and beat the mess out of Georgia or win the game and say, see, we deserve it. Now we're going to jump into the portal. But
so Georgia gets a pass in your view is what you're saying.
Well, number one, because it's a 12-team playoff. And 2, we don't know if Beck can play or can't play. We don't know.
Do you think Georgia is as good a team with Beck not playing?
No, I don't think so.
I don't either.
I don't think
Georgia
can beat Alabama without Carson Beck. They can barely beat Alabama with Carson Beck.
They can barely beat Georgia
I don't think
State.
Carson Beck's actually that good.
That's what I'm saying, Vern, right there. Right. So all I'm saying is if I use last year's argument, the team is not as good without them, then why? And they have more losses than Florida State did at the same time. And yes, I know 14 versus 12. I just didn't want that point to be lost.
My argument would be then move them back to number 8 instead of whatever they are now.
Well, also this is a new point because Georgia won the conference championship, so it's.
Well, I don't know, Charles, because Florida State did beat Louisville.
Well, I'm not saying that's not true. I'm not saying that's not true.
I don't like how you said that.
But ACC and SEC is 2 different months.
Stop.
Freddie, I'm gonna turn it over to you, Freddie. We got 2 minutes left before I lose the recording. Freddie, you got something you want to say because my man is using your background as a screen, and we haven't addressed the obvious.
There was 2 things with the last year situation, right? The first situation was when Texas won the Big 12 last year, right? Who did Texas beat last year?
No idea.
Alabama, right?
Alabama. Okay.
So when Alabama beat Georgia for the SEC, that is what created, okay, are we going to put Texas in? And Texas was ascending. They beat Alabama. And Alabama beat Georgia. And they're the SEC champions. So then now with Florida State, based on the fact that obviously Jordan Travis got hurt, right? The offense didn't look as good. That also contributed to why they didn't get in. Should they, we're not going to sit here and say they should have. We all saw the offense took a dip, right? So that gave them, another excuse to, go with Alabama, conference champion, even though they lost to Texas, I think, in Tuscaloosa. They lost to Texas. So when Texas won the Big 12, okay, Texas is in. Well, okay. Alabama had to beat Georgia to have a shot to get in. And it just so happened, Florida State, your offense looked bad, even though you were undefeated, you were the conference champion.
When Jordan got hurt, I mean, you had 2 games to see that body of work, and it was not good.
It just wasn't the same.
I think had they gotten in, I think we would have saw the real team.
What does that mean?
Everyone not leaving.
They had so many guys that didn't play in.
Right. I agree. Okay. Yep.
And if you look at it, this team, I told someone, a lot of those guys that was on that team last year, they came back this year. I wouldn't have wanted any of those guys on my team this year. That's me personally. Because if you quit on us then, I'm not going to let you come back. And what you saw in the 2-10 season, a lot of guys quit. I think just in the past 2 days, they've had 15 guys jump in the portal. And all of those guys were on the same team last year that quit. So, it is what it is.
I agree.
Hey, listen, we're out of time.
That's the energy I want from Freddie. That's the energy. We got a whole thing going on, but you should be mad at these dudes. You should be mad at Florida State.
But that was my point. And and LB brought this up too. He's been mad with them, Claude, the entire time. His only question was like, okay, what does this mean? Why are you coming after him?
Let me address this though, because
he's been the hardest guy on Florida State that I know.
I'm gonna be real quick. 2 weeks ago, Freddie said on the show, everybody that moved on. Why is Claude still talking about this? And right in that moment, I felt so ashamed of myself. I said, Freddie is right. I'm a horrible person, and I need to get better. There's no reason for me to do this. There's no reason.
Yet you come in with this background of Freddie's team.
Because I'm a horrible person. Because I'm not good. And listen, it's the Christmas season. I thank God every day for Jesus in my life because I need him. Because without him, I do things like this.
Folks, we are out of time. Thanks to Golf DMV for being here. Thanks to my crew. Hope you guys have a wonderful holiday. Enjoy the college playoffs. We're out. Thanks, guys.